This morning we continue in a long tradition at King whereby rising seniors elect a couple of members of the faculty to talk about something that is dear to them. These talks have ranged from research-oriented to personal stories to extra activities, and they've been a great insight for us into the way that some of the faculty here work. It is a delight this morning to me to have Bradley Baker, although also it makes me realize my increasing age because Bradley was on my DC track several years ago, and now he's the faculty lecturer, and this is really quite a sobering reminder of how old I'm getting. Next week we're going to reconvene here, and we'll have Heather Braddock talking a little bit about stress strategies as we come toward the end of the semester, and then we have a flurry of guest speakers in early November, so watch your inbox for that. For the moment, though, I'm going to ask Aaliyah to come and introduce our speaker.
Greetings. Dr. Baker wants me to mention that he is a King graduate and went to Vanderbilt. Top 10 in football was very important for me to mention. Anyways, it's my pleasure, and depending on the day, my personal challenge to introduce someone who's been one of the most important figures in my academic journey. Coming in my freshman year as a forensic science major, I had no clue that I would be this close to graduating as a chemistry and math major. This is mostly Dr. Baker's fault. After taking one too many classes with him, I learned my love for chemistry ran deeper than I expected. From there, I've never been able to escape Dr. Baker. I swapped from forensics to chemistry, he's still my advisor. I become a TA, he's my boss. I join the robotics team, he becomes the coach. I join summer research lab, and he is my mentor. While my frustration with Dr. Baker runs deep, he deserves so much credit for all he has done for me and King. He's led many demonstrations with high schoolers and middle schoolers, which is no easy task. And he has put up with me and my group of forensics girls for almost 4 years now. This spring, the forensics girls will graduate as Dr. Baker's first class of chemistry majors that he's had for all 4 years. Whether he admits it or not, we are unforgettable and will always hold a special place in his heart, and certainly the same goes for him. Despite all the frustration he has brought me, he's an amazing professor and mentor, and I wouldn't have it any other way. So with all the love, exhaustion, and minor academic trauma I've gathered over the years, please welcome the one and only Dr. Baker.
Did she mention frustration and Vanderbilt's top 10 in football right now? So I wanted to make sure I highlighted those things. Okay. So I often tell my students who are worried about an upcoming presentation, often in science seminar, those who are worried about the inevitable difficult questions after said presentation, or those that are worried about one of my upcoming tests. The best way to prepare for any of these is to address the why questions. I tell them to review their PowerPoint presentations line by line, asking why each statement they are preparing to present is true. For example, why is a zwitteronic surface hydrophilic and resistant to biofouling? Why does treating C. elegans, Dr. Vaughn's favorite microscopic nematode, with a particular chemical compound cause the observed change in the worm's behaviors? Why did Dr. Baker choose that particular equation to solve that difficult chemistry problem during his lecture notes? Or outside of the sciences, why do we insert any historical figure here? Why do we view them positively or negatively? And why are their views or actions worthy of supporting or disavowing? Why do we hold the writings of Shakespeare in such high regard? I tell my students that struggling with these why questions is the first step to truly understanding a topic. The ability to answer these why questions is necessary to gaining the level of understanding needed to succeed in their presentations, to answer difficult and unexpected questions from the audience, or to ace any of my notoriously difficult tests. Today, I urge you to ask the following question. Why are we here? Why are you in college? Why are you pursuing an education at a small liberal arts institution like King University? And why are you pursuing a degree in the major of your choosing? Today, I argue that facing these why questions is key to your success at King University, moreover, at higher education in general. Your time in college can be either transformative or it can be a wasted opportunity. But which of those dichotomous outcomes you are met with after your 4 years at college ultimately lies in the hands of you, the student. In preparing this talk, I came upon the book Out of My Later Years, which is a collection of essays and letters and more by Albert Einstein. Included in this book is his 1936 address to the State University of New York at Albany, titled On Education. I will read a few passages from this address. Okay. Sometimes one sees in the school simply the instrument for transferring a certain maximum quantity of knowledge to the growing generation, but that's not right. Knowledge is dead. The school, however, serves the living. It should develop in young individuals those qualities and capabilities which are of value for the welfare of the Commonwealth, meaning society or humanity at large. Continuing, but that does not mean that individuality should be destroyed and the individual becomes a mere tool of the community, like a bee or an ant. A community of standardized individuals without personal originality and personal aims would be a poor community with no scope for development. On the contrary, the aim must be the training of independently acting and thinking individuals who, however, see in their service of the community their highest life problem. To make the most of your degree, you must go beyond simply checking the boxes required to earn said degree. You must go beyond treating college as a game of trivia. You must become someone who can, as Albert Einstein mentioned, act and solve problems on your own. A wise person once said, "If you ain't first, you're last." Joking aside, the words uttered by Ricky Bobby can be interpreted to have some deeper meaning than that portrayed in the movie Talladega Nights. Really, it describes a state of mind where everything is viewed as competition. No one should ever enter a race, be it NASCAR or a track and field event, with the goal of simply completing the race. Races, by design, are a competition. Your time at King, pursuing your degree, is also a competition. Your goal should not be to simply obtain your degree. I urge you to view your time at King as a competition, but not necessarily a competition with others around you. Frank Dick, the director of coaching for British Athletics Federation from 1974 to 1994, is famous for his statement that winning is being better today than you were yesterday, every day. For those of you who are student athletes, competition doesn't begin with trying to defeat the others on game day or race day. It begins during practice. Before one ever competes with others, one must first compete with his or herself. In light of this, college is no different. You aren't competing with your classmates. You are competing with yourself. You are competing with yourself to perform better on every test or assignment than you did on your last. Those classmates sitting in this chapel, those sitting around you in the classes, these are your teammates. Your 4 years at King are your practice. Game day, the day that you begin truly competing with others, begins when you are applying to graduate school, professional school, or your first job after King. You are competing against others, most who have a degree just like you will. So how do you find success in this first competition against others? It all depends on what you did during practice, or in other words, during your time at King. A degree's value is tied to what you do while pursuing the degree. One who participates in research, excels in their classes, takes hard classes as electives when they're not required, serves the community through campus organizations and groups, makes their degree more valuable. This becomes evidenced in a document called the Curriculum Vitae, or CV for short, an extended resume of sorts that catalogs your academic and professional accomplishments. This degree, along with your CV, shows that this student was provided an opportunity and that this student capitalized upon that opportunity. On the other hand, if the CV accompanies one degree is essentially blank, the degree itself becomes a damning symbol that the holder of said degree squandered the opportunity afforded them in college. I would be remiss to not address how this echoes the biblical teachings of James in chapter 2, verses 14 through 16. What does it profit, my brethren, if someone says he has faith but does not have works? Can faith save him? If a brother or sister is naked and destitute of daily food, and one of you says to them, "Depart in peace, be warmed and filled," but you do not give them the things which are needed for the body, what does it profit? Thus, also by faith itself, it does not have works, is dead. But some will say, you have faith and I have works. Show me your faith without your works, and I will show you my faith by my works. You believe that there is one God. You do well. Even the demons believe and tremble. But do you want to know, O foolish man, that faith without works is dead? Was not Abraham our father justified by works when he offered Isaac as his son on the altar? Do you see that faith was working together with his works, and by works faith was made perfect? And the scriptures was fulfilled, which says, Abraham believed God, and it was accounted to him for righteousness, and he was called the friend of God. You see then that a man is justified by works and not only by faith. For as man without spirit, as the body without spirit is dead, so faith without works is dead also. James is not arguing here that works provide a means for salvation. Rather, he is arguing that works are the evidence, the embodiment that one does possess the faith that brings salvation. The faith itself that grants salvation will not exist within someone who does no godly works. Returning to the topic of education, to the degrees you are pursuing, if godly works are the evidence of one's faith being authentic, then analogously, your research, your extracurricular activities, your efforts to obtain the best grades you are capable of, your community service, your leadership in the classroom and on the field of competition, these are all evidence that your degree was one that was pursued with authentic scholarly intentions. In summary, your degree will be judged by the works you perform while earning said degree. Another question related to the title, Why Are We Here?, that students like you may often face is why go to college when you can Google everything? Or a question more relevant in the last couple of years, why go to college when AI can answer everything? These are questions that you must think about, that you must spend time struggling with in order to make the most of your education. To address these questions, I asked AI, specifically the favorite AI of many of you, ChatGPT. I see it. The following question: which jobs or tasks could AI realistically replace in the next 4 years with minimal human input, and which human skills would remain irreplaceable? And I'll present the response from ChatGPT. In the next 4 years, I, ChatGPT speaking here, predict that many jobs currently done by humans will be performed more efficiently by AI with nothing more than an unskilled person prompting me. Routine writing, coding templates, summarizing research, creating presentations, and managing customer support are at risk. If humans rely on AI for these tasks, their job prospects and pay will likely be limited to minimum wage, or the work might disappear entirely. Human value will increasingly come from what I cannot do: insight, judgment, creativity, ethical reasoning, and the ability to navigate ambiguity. Those who fail to develop these uniquely human skills risk being economically irrelevant, regardless of former credentials. To many, this premonition by AI may sound alarming. Right here, AI itself is predicting that it will replace many bleak future, but rather a reminder that we are at a crossroads where we as humans must make the choice as to whether we are willing to develop those uniquely human skills to ensure our own irreplaceability, or to choose to merely check the boxes required to receive a degree and risk becoming little more than a replaceable cog in the machine. Further, this prediction should serve as a reminder that all of us currently exist in an institution uniquely capable of preparing us for success in such a future. We are not the very qualities of insight, judgment, creativity, ethical reasoning, and the ability to navigate ambiguity, all the hallmarks of a liberal arts education. In another prediction, this one from the same 1936 address titled On Education by Albert Einstein, he predicts the necessity of a general, or in other words, a liberal arts education in preparing students for a changing world. I want to oppose the idea that the school has to teach directly that special knowledge and those accomplishments which one has to use later directly in life. The demands of life are much too manifold to let such a specialized training in school appear possible. Apart from that, it seems to me, moreover, objectionable to treat the individual like a dead tool. The school should always have as its aim that the man leave it as a harmonious personality, not as a specialist. He continues, the development of the general ability for independent thinking and judgment should always be placed foremost, not the acquisition of special knowledge. If a person masters the fundamentals of his subject and has learned to think and work independently, he will surely find his way, and besides, will be better able to adapt himself to the progress and changes than the person whose training principally consists in the acquiring of detailed knowledge. Once again, obtaining a degree from a liberal arts institution in and of itself does not guarantee that one will be adaptable to the broader progress and change mentioned by Einstein, or more specifically, the changes ushered in by AI and an ever-changing computational environment. Your adaptability will come from how you complete your degree. If you relied on ChatGPT, Gemini, or any other artificial intelligence tool to complete an assignment, I urge you to ask yourself this: did you deprive yourself from the opportunity to struggle with that problem or assignment? And further, by shortcutting the struggle to complete the assignment, did you deprive yourself of the opportunity to develop the general ability for independent thinking and judgment of which Einstein speaks? Ultimately, if you rely on AI and internet resources to complete your education, did you learn anything at all? Many of you may be here with the mindset that with a degree comes a job, and with a job comes money. So let me address the issue of AI reliance from an economic standpoint. Pretend for a moment that I am an employer. Why would I hire someone with a degree who can only complete the work I delegate to them by prompting AI for an answer? Why would I not instead hire someone with no training, someone with no higher education, someone who can just as easily write a prompt to AI and provide me verbatim with its answer or solution? Why would I pay more than minimum wage to hire someone with a degree if they are capable of nothing more than anyone could produce via prompting AI? In short, your economic value, your justification to become more highly compensated, comes from your ability to do what AI cannot. More broadly, your justification for receiving higher pay comes from being able to do what many other humans cannot. Do not misconstrue this talk as being nothing more as a rant about how AI is evil. AI can indeed be a valuable tool, albeit a potentially dangerous tool that we must treat and use with respect. As Jesus is a carpenter, I will present the next analogy as a carpenter's workshop. I contend that AI and internet resources may provide tools in the form of knowledge, but tools alone do not a carpenter make. AI and internet resources do not provide the workshop and the mentorship that college provides. In college, here at King University, the tools with which you are equipped also include the knowledge presented to you in the form of lecture and notes. The campus includes the workshops where you have the opportunity to hone your skills and to safely fail in the practice of these skills. The laboratories, the library, the classrooms, the writing center, the ACE, all of these are your workshops. Your professors, your tutors, your student success specialists, and your academic advisors, all of these are your mentors. Few opportunities like this opportunity you have at King, provide you with the tools, workshops, and mentors all in one place. However, simply being surrounded by tools, workshops, and mentors does not make you a carpenter. To become a master of anything, to become a great carpenter, you must push the limits of your capabilities within that workshop. You must take full advantage of the workshop provided, the tools provided, and the guidance of your mentors. You must do more than constructing the simple wooden objects or trinkets assigned to you. In essence, your degree should provide a spotlight that you can accomplish more than the minimum. It should show that, given an opportunity, you aren't afraid to challenge yourself to struggle with difficult tasks, that you go to the extremes, pushing the boundaries of your own capabilities, that every day you strive to be a better student than the day prior. It is what you accomplish during these struggles that leaves a lasting impression on those around you, on employers to which you seek to begin your careers, or on selection committees at graduate or professional schools to which you plan to apply. When I visit what remains of an old railroad, specifically the East Tennessee and Western North Carolina Railroad in Hampton, Tennessee, the current site of Doe River Gorge Christian Camp, I am amazed by the evidence of human struggle. This railroad, constructed in the 1880s, connected isolated towns in western North Carolina with Elizabethton and Johnson City, Tennessee, regions once accessible to one another only by dangerous trails for oxen and mule-drawn carts. There are tunnels constructed through the mountains through which 1800s and 1900s steam locomotives once passed. These tunnels are awe-inspiring. The line perched on the ledge along the mountainside is awe-inspiring. All of these were hand-carved by humans with the aid of simple tools, picks and dynamite. It is astounding that humans could do this. There is beauty in God's creation where it meets human struggle. In contrast, a modern tunnel like you may find on an interstate highway does not inspire the same feeling of awe. In these current modern tunnels, humans are farther removed from the process of their creation, but not removed entirely. Careful engineering was still required in their designs. Expertise in construction methods were still required to transform those designs into reality. But something is still missing: the blood, sweat, and tears of human struggle. As time passes with increased AI assistance, automated machinery, making a tunnel could soon become a trivial endeavor. Even if this technology-driven tunnel of tomorrow were to be record-breaking, why does it matter if humans were minimally involved in its creation? Similarly, the pyramids in Egypt are impressive because humans made them with minimal technology and an abundance of struggle. Pictures of these pyramids inevitably existed in every one of your elementary school history textbooks. Meanwhile, the modern Bass Pro Shops pyramid in Memphis, Tennessee, is unfamiliar to most people, at least until they drive across the I-40 bridge over the Mississippi heading towards Arkansas. Human legacy lies in the struggle to do which is difficult, and how the fruits of those struggles impacts the lives of others. So I urge you today, embrace struggling with difficult questions. Run headfirst to face challenges that seem impossible to you. And in doing so, try not to rely on resources like AI. We must not become addicted to resources that make life easier. Human nature is that of addiction. We become addicted to our phones, even though we know that is bad for us. We become addicted to drugs and alcohol when we know that it's bad to be addicted to those items. And in an ideal world, we as humans would use AI and scientific and technological assistance in an appropriate manner, in moderation and in a way that doesn't dehumanize us. But that is not human nature. We as humans must not over-rely on AI to the point that our meaning becomes lost, allowing struggle and critical thinking to become obsolete. So I implore you, proceed to struggle. There is no safer place than college. There is no safer place than King University to push the limits of your capabilities and to come face to face with failure. Will you seize this opportunity to find what you're capable of achieving? Or will you squander this opportunity to safely test the limits of your own mind and body? I conclude with this. I challenge you during your time at King to ask yourself at the end of every day the following questions. Could I have studied more? Could I have been a better student? Could I have been a better teacher? Could I have been a better friend to those around me? Could I have worked harder in the practice field or on the field of competition? Could I have been a better Christian? If the answer to any of these is yes, which is often the case for all of us, then do it. Seek always to do better in all that you do. Thank you.
I love the phrase, there is beauty where God's creation meets human struggle. What a great summation that is. This is something AI couldn't have done, to go and take a 1936 lecture by Albert Einstein and to join it with a history of railroads, and to join it with the undergraduate experience. This is the work of of a struggling human mind in Bradley, and I'm very delighted that we got the fruits of that today. I have a plaque for him, so please join me in thanking Bradley Baker once again.